Are you struggling for consistency in your sim racing? Does your iRating look like a roller coaster? If so, we have good news for you. The way to get more consistent is to first understand what you're doing differently than the professionals. And VRS is the answer. With our competitive subscription, you will have the telemetry, setups, tutorials, and everything else you need to fully analyze your driving. Our data packs and the ability to compare your driving with the best in the world will show you exactly where to adjust your inputs, change your driving line, and shave seconds off of your lap times. And our powerful and precise Direct Force Pro wheelbase and precision pedals are being used by some of the world's best drivers. All these champions agree that VRS hardware is not just the best on the market, it's also priced well below the competition. So if you're looking to upgrade to direct drive and the best pedals in sim racing, VRS is your answer. If you want to get better, get faster, and make it happen sooner rather than later, you owe it to yourself to find out why so many people are switching to VRS. You'll be so glad that you did. Visit www.virtualracingschool.com and learn why the best use VRS.
Apex Racing League launched ARL GT Americas, our first American time zone GT3 championship. Over 6 rounds, drivers will compete in a mirror series to the popular ARL GT3 trophy, racing in a mixture of formats from 1 hour-long features to reverse grid sprints. We visit some of the most popular circuits in the sim, such as Spa, Watkins Glen and Suzuka, along with offering drivers a great opportunity to prepare for the Petit Le Mans with our opening round at Road Atlanta. Races starts on Saturdays at 21:10 Eastern Time, and any driver with a D-Class road license is welcome to register and fight for over $1,500 in prizes. Sign up at apexracingleague.com to confirm your place on the grid. See you on track.
A sign outside Road America's Turn 5 proudly declares the facility as America's National Park of Speed. And it's hard to put forward a counter-argument. With a layout largely unchanged since its mid-1950s inauguration, this 4-mile course has played host to some of the country's most prominent road racing championships. But tonight, it is the season finale of the Apex Racing League GT Americas that will be taking to the tracks. I'm Tim Cox, we've got John Robson in the virtual production trailer, but right now, as always, I'm joined by Charles Bushell. Charles, it's a bit of a season, hasn't it, to say the least? Lots of ups and downs, and, well, what better way to end this season than at Road America?
Yeah, absolutely, Tim. This is one of my favorite tracks. I love it. It's kind of like, I don't want to call it the American Le Mans because there's a little more elevation here, but it's really a course that you're chaining straightaways together. So you're trying to get good exit out of each corner to get that run down the next straight, and it's one of my favorite tracks.
With that in mind, with it being season finale, should we take a little bit of a look at the point standings to see where we lie coming into this final round? Because I know there are still a few bits up for grabs, exception for the championship in Pro, because Spencer Hewins, well, he's been dominant all season as the Canadian in the Aero Kinetics pink Porsche. And he had it wrapped up long ago, realistically. But the battle for second, that is still on, with only 10 points separating Lucas Martins in second and Zane Smith in third. Then we've got Hugo Oliveira. He's on 400 points with Delgado, Torres, Staropoli, Tapio, Lewis and Kingscott rounding out your top 10. Let's have a little look across into AMS, where again, he's still up for grabs. And this is the overall championship, not second, with Marcus Vinicius. He's leading into the final round of 380 points, but Bruce Jackson is only 8 points behind. And I can tell you, we've got both those drivers out on track. Qualifying just getting underway right now. You see that going on in the background. Beaver, he is in third and not quite going to be able to make it, but I tell you what, it's going to be interesting between those top two in AM, and I get the feeling there might be a bit of a, elbows out. The perennial rubbing is racing, Charles. If those two together coming into the final lap, and well, it's that victory in AM is up for grabs.
Yeah, absolutely. It's everything's still to play for. Really a top battle between P1 and P2, and they won't hold anything back. They'll do everything they can to secure this win and secure the title for the season.
Last time out, we were in Japan, the land of the rising sun at Suzuka. Well, it was more of the land of the rising drama, really, with battles up and down the field. It just didn't let up the whole race long, did it, Charles?
No, it really didn't, and I think I've had my fill of Suzuka, just to be honest.
Oh, just a little bit, of course. It's just the iRacing Suzuka special that's been on this weekend, and well, yeah, I think there's going to be certainly a few drivers out there that are sick and tired of the place. Have done many laps, namely someone who drives within your team, who's currently lying 9th in qualifying at the moment, a fellow Brit, Joseph Clist.
Yeah, Paul's done a lot of work this weekend. He's actually run the 10 hours twice. He did it in time slot 1, and then did it again with me and one of our teammates in time slot 3. We didn't have the greatest race. We ran into some iRacing luck, unfortunately. But we stuck it out and we finished the race, and we got a good result. It wasn't a great result, but it was a good result.
Hey,
so yeah, I mean, yeah, so absolutely. So yeah, so it's but yeah, so it's good to be off that track and concentrating on a track that's a little more open. You've got obviously, I think there's you've got a little more room in on the edges to maybe make mistakes and not destroy your car. And of course, it's just much faster here than it is in Suzuka.
Oh, it definitely is. So you say about the room, because it got tight in the final of BMW Sim Cup Live, and well, those that you managed to catch the action. What happened? Well, right back where we're seeing Lucas Martins now, where there was an incident, and on the opening lap, and people took to the grass to try and make their way through, and it was Apex Racing Team's very own Jamie Fluke that managed to find a free channel, got his way through, ended up finishing 5th there. A great result for him, where many people didn't make it out the other side. And well, we're going to see the same sort of drama. Well, talking of drama and stories coming out of qualifying, it's coming towards the end of qualifying right now. Spencer Hewins, only good enough for 5th. I've been beaten by this guy, Dan Palmer-Lee. Great qualifying by the AM driver. As things stand at the moment, he's due to start on the second row of the grid alongside Lucas Martins, the Brazilian. He's only 0.04 of a second quicker than him, with a 10th covering Martins, Palmer-Lee and Hewins all in. They top 5. They're really a bit of a breakaway group. They are significantly quicker right now than the rest of the field that are pretty much them. I think we're going to have almost 2 groups here based on qualifying if it carries on. As I say, well, I say that about heat praise on Palmer-Lee, and all of a sudden Spencer Hewins goes and sticks it in 3rd and on the second row of the grid. A great final lap for him. But yeah, it looks like we're going to have 2 groups based on qualifying. That top 5, which is looking really strong for Palmer-Lee, and then that second group from 6th downwards.
Yeah, but don't forget we're inverting the top 8. So those top 5 are going to be behind the 3 cars that are significantly slower than they are.
It's going to be a bit of work out for, likes of Baker, Brezhnak, Groves and Clist. Imagine, Groves and Clist's name there. It's Groves. But, yeah, it's going to be a challenge for them because, obviously, as things stand at the moment, Jackson and Glover are going to be at the front end on the front row. but they're all going to be all the way back in 9th and downwards, so they're going to have a bit of work cut out to try and get up to those guys. And well, it's definitely going to be interesting to see, as Charles mentioned, top 8 inverted in qualifying for the race. So first will start 8th, 8th will start first, and obviously everyone spanning out accordingly in between. Where are we going to see the overtakes, Charles? Turn 1, turn 5?
I mean, those are the two big ones, turn 1 and turn 5. The charge down. Hopefully everybody survives turn 1. Turn 5 is a really good one. It's a really good place to outbreak your opponents. I'm hoping, and Canada corner. Canada corner is also good for a good lunge into the inside with a late braking.
Well, let's find out. Here is your grid for the final time this season. And of course, with those top 8 being inverted, that means Bruce Jackson starts from pole with Baron Glover, the favorite arm driver, joining him on the front row. An all-American front row here, Road America. It's got a bit of a ring to it, that one. Marcus Vinicius, he starts on the second row with Dan Palmer, lead for company, another all-arm row. And then it's into the pros with Lucas Martins. He's got Spencer Hewins for company on the third row. Jamie Kinscott, someone who's just lacked that bit of luck this season. He starts on the fourth row alongside Delgado. Thomas Baker, he's got Thomas Bereshinak for company on the fifth row, rounding out your top 10. Corey Groves, Paul Joseph Cliff starts alongside him. And a good lap in towards the end of qualifying and closing the gap up. Not setting times, so we'll keep an eye on whether they end up taking to the grid are Hugo Oliveira and Leonardo Dragota, two BMW drivers. In fact, the last 2 rows are all BMWs. To be fair, we've got an all Mercedes row as well, but then that's where it ends, because all at the front end, it's all jumbled around, with our lone Audi being driven by Baron Glover, who's had some, I'll tell you, he's had some good results this season, and another one who's maybe suffered with a bit of bad luck too.
Yeah, I mean, the Audi's such a, I mean, it can be a really good car with the proper setup, but it's so touchy, and it just doesn't take much for it to want to just, to kill you, as we say. So, so I'm looking forward to a good race. I think, these guys are here. They came out. They said, we're going to finish this off the right way. So I'm looking forward to these guys just putting on a show for us tonight.
I am indeed. Porsche 911 safety car takes them away. Got the luxury here of a whole complete lap rather than just the last few turns. So we've got plenty of time to talk about one of our sponsors for this series. And let's give a mention to SDK Gaming. If you're looking to add a live virtual HUD to iRacing to show timing towers, enhanced relative boxes, mini-maps, fuel calculators and more, then they are the people to go to. You can also utilise it to stream to Twitch for the most complete overlay on iRacing. But that's not all. You can also use it to broadcast your leagues and series, like we do for all of our broadcasts here at Apex Racing TV, because SDK Gaming syncs your commentary team's cameras and focus on the drivers and adjust the overlays accordingly to what your broadcaster is showing. Furthermore, with Suzuka being in mind, you can use it to adjust your team strategy on the fly by using that brilliant fuel calculator that it has, and also it being the most accurate live timing on iRacing. You find out about more by heading across to SDK Gaming, and also they have a 14-day free trial to boot. It just gets better and better, but as the drivers head down towards turn 5, I mean, some people call it turn 3, don't they? But officially it is turn 5. That big run-off on the exit, Charles. But I tell you what, that tarmac or asphalt or pavement in your case, as you guys would call it, it cuts off a bit quick, doesn't it? And it's very easy to get caught on the dirt on the outside in that little bit of a section where quite a few drivers run onto.
Yeah, it really is. It's I don't think we're going to have the same issue that we had as you and I were here for the truck series
We were
a few weeks ago. I don't think we'll have the issue, but I think it's still there. It's not necessarily turn 5, but turn 6. That next corner under the bridge where you get the car light and you're right at the point where you want to put the brakes on, especially for maybe the Porsches, may not necessarily like that very much. It's a very touchy little corner. It's easy to mess it up, to lock the brakes up. Obviously, ABS helped, but once you get into the ABS zone, it's really hard to modulate your brakes to try and slow the car down.
There's a bit of a blink there for Parmalee. Hopefully that doesn't continue on too much for him. And then, of course, we've got the round down through the kink towards Canada Corner. So that kink's treacherous, isn't it, Charles? It's, you could go too wide through there, but I remember covering a race and, well, it was the site of a massive accident through here. It took out about 6 cars all in. I mean, they did have also LMP2s to negotiate as well as GT3s, but we won't have that issue tonight. However, it is treacherous, especially when the field's really bunched up on this opening couple of laps.
Yeah, you can go too wide through there in I guess a single class event. It's still very, very difficult. You have to have a little bit of trust in that other driver to maintain their line, and you're both going to have to live through there. There's one line through there you can drive flat out if your car's set up for it. Otherwise, you're going to kind of feather the throttle going through there, and too wide, it's just almost impossible.
Wow, the Porsche 911 safety car is in, and let's get ready to go racing for the final time this evening. And Bruce Jackson does not hang around. He has seen green, and he has gone. He buried the throttle and left everyone standing. Baron Glover not quite as quick to react as it's a bit tight in the midfield. Parmalee not getting the best away. Hewins, he's already jumped up 2 place in that Porsche and really making good ground early on as Parmalee squeezed on the outside there. That's Lucas Martins on the inside of him. In that Mercedes and now using all of the grunt and the torque available in that AMG V8 to power him down the straight. Now it looks like he's getting a bit of a shove. Oh no, not quite. Back camera bit deceptive there. I was thinking he's getting a bit of a shove from Jamie King-Scott there and his fellow Mercedes, but Baron Glover just being pushed wide there. And Hewan says, thank you very much, I'll take that place from you, and slots it up the inside in that Porsche. But it's starting to happen where the amps start to drop down a little bit. There's Parmalee losing ground furthermore. There's another Mercedes through in the BMW there, trying to make their way through too. That's Yao Delgado. He's on the sort of an okay start, couldn't quite get it done. Has another look up the inside here, can't quite get it done. That's going to leave Parmalee on the inside as they head through the carousel for the first time. But you can feel a move brewing here from the Brazilian, can't you, Charles?
Yeah, he's looking to get around that Parmalee as quick as he can. He's had good pace all year. He just hasn't had some really good results. So maybe this is going to be his lucky night.
Well, a bit of a race down into Canada Corner here. Audi on the outside, Glover trying to sweep his way around. Well, I'll tell you what, he's kept hold of it. Oh, was Parmalee squeezed right down to the gravel on Canada Corner there. That's not going to help his cause. After a great showing in qualifying, he's all the way down to 10th now. He's dropped 6 places, incredibly. We see Mercedes versus Mercedes. That is King-Scott versus Martins. They duel it out up the hill towards the start-finish line. Who's going to come out on top into turn 1? And talking about coming up on top of turn 1, you see the Porsche there having a right old go, but can't quite get through. Can't squeeze between the 2 BMWs there. Jackson and Vinicius, the 2 AM drivers, they're locked in their own battle. They want to scrap it out. And Hewins, desperate to find his way past, he just can't.
Yeah, he's just kind of stuck behind them, and he's giving them room to race, and that's really good. Because these guys are battling for their own championship. Hewins has got his sewn up, so he's not sticking his nose in too deep. Because I don't think these guys are gonna really let him interfere with what's going on.
Well, I tell you what, he's got best seats in the house, hasn't he? You know, front row tickets to that battle going on for the lead overall right now. I tell you what, hats off to Glover, and he's staying into the fight there. He's not quite off the tail end of them. Around about 7/10 off the back of them. More like 8, maybe 9 now, actually, to be precise. So heat praise onto him. He just drops the 10th there. But it's still looming large. This battle of the BMWs out in front. Jackson of Aerokinetics versus Vinicius of Delta. So we head through the carousel and is that Vinicius is off wide? And he's tagged Hewins and he's off.
Oh.
Wow, how by Hewins, how he collected that one, but that is Vinicius gone. And well, that's going to be he's got a fast repair, but that's a stop that he really would not have wanted.
The car's just messed up. He's having trouble just getting back.
Whoa, it nearly ended up out colliding with his teammate there, just coming flying through.
Yeah, that was obviously, you know, I'd like to see another replay of that. I don't know if maybe Hewins forced the issue there. So I'd really like to see how that all kind of unfolded. But yeah, obviously, Vinicius was the loser in that tussle.
Oh, he lost out big time, didn't he? Come round to complete another lap. It's not too complete. Delgado setting the early pace there in the BMW, currently 5th place. You just see him in the, well, in this fight right now. Audi versus Mercedes versus BMW, quarreling over positions, and right now the two pro drivers of King Scott and Delgado and the Mercedes and the BMW will be desperate to clear the Audi as quick as possible, but Glover desperate to stay on the heels of Jackson, stay in that fight. But equally, these two pro drivers want to try and find their way past us. Delgado up the inside into turn 5 there, nicely done. And that's now brought Martins into this party. This train is getting a bit tighter, and I get the feeling as much as they won't want to interfere with Glover's race too much, they're going to start tripping up over one another soon, like we saw with Hewins and Jackson and Vinicius.
Yeah, I think they'll get everything settled out. It looks like they're kind of lining back up and trying to find out which cars got the pace in what area, so they can make good passes and make them clean. It does look like that. I think it looks like Glover's kind of holding his own a bit. He's really trying to hang in there, but I just don't think the Audi's got the straight line pace to keep up with this German onslaught from Beamer, Porsche, and Merc. Because it is one of the older cars in the GT class. So at this point,
it is that and the McLaren, two oldest. I mean, obviously, we'll exclude the Ford out of that list because hardly anyone drives in. It's a bit of an oddball machine in the GT3 field, but you saw there Glover losing a place to Delgado, but King Scott's been desperate to get past Glover as quick as possible. Try and get after the Brazilian. He's made his way through. He's already lost one place to Delgado in the pro standings, and trying to hunt him down right now is the man from down under, and he heads underneath the Audi, and that is King Scott up into 4th, but he's lost a second to Delgado. That's crucial, and Martin's trying to stay hot on the heels and get that Mercedes straight past Glover's Audi as running a bit wide. That was Delgado and the BMW just ahead of them. I think we're going to really see the difference in straight line speed, Charles, right now between the Audi and the Mercedes, because, well, that Mercedes is in the slipstream as well. But I tell you what, the Audi seems to be holding its own with that V10 5-litre V-Power that's in the middle of the car.
Yeah, absolutely. I think he's doing, like I said, I think he's doing a great job. Obviously this is a very aero-dependent track, obviously, with the long straightaways. So you want to try and keep that 1 second gap to the car in front of you can, because that's just going to help pull you around the track faster.
I'm surprised by Hewins. I mean, he was harassing and haranguing Vinicius and Jackson when they were in front of him. And now he just seems to be almost happy and content to sit behind Jackson. I mean, we know he's got the overall pace advantage, you know, based on qualifying and how the season's played out so far, but it's a bit of an odd one. That was a little bit close there on the exit out of the kick. Slipped. Well, those fraught with death-type moments, but they managed to avoid it, and that's Masters up the inside into Canada corner. And Glover falls further back from Jackson, not what he would have hoped for.
Well, I mean, Jackson's shown pretty good pace all season long. He's been able to at least battle with the pros. Maybe not necessarily coming out on top most of the time, But he's showing good pace, and I do see a little bit of damage on the side of Hewen's car from the contact with Vinicius. So he does have some left side damage. I don't know if that's maybe hurting his aero a bit. But now as he's taking it down the inside here to go side by side through turn 1.
Oh, I thought they were going to hit a free wide then. Delgado getting right in and pushing Hewins
Wow.
along. And oh, he's going to come across the track. Is he going to make contact? He is. He's made contact with Jackson. Oh, and Jackson into the wall. He's ended up with the same fate of Vinicius, and I think he's part of the car.
Yeah,
he was in a big plume of steam and smoke coming from the engine out the front end of that BMW. And all while that was going on, King Scott leads.
Yeah, he just happened to be not close to the other cars, and so he's taking advantage. And yeah, that was I think that was just a case of maybe obviously trying to bump draft down the straight to get that one car so they're not, too wide, trying to get the pass made, and maybe just bumped a little bit later than it needed to, and as Hewins was trying to get into his braking routine for the corner.
Action up and down the fields on these opening stages. As we see Dragota trying to find his way past Brezhnak. Brezhnak, lap prior was, well, Baker just sailed past him. He sort of saw a bit of a gap emerge and just went for it. And Brezhnak caught completely and utterly flapping at that stage. And since then has fallen back. Let's have a look at this replay. So this is on board with Delgado. You see where he was pushing Hewins along. There we go. To try and force the move. And, Hewins caught the grass.
Yeah.
Oh, and he's going to come right across. There he goes. Bang.
And then, of course, Delgado checked up to avoid that contact, and King Scott just came down the inside.
He said, thank you very much. It's like all these Christmases that come at once, or certainly coming about a month and a half early for King Scott, as so it all unfolded in front of him, and he sailed up the inside. There's Jackson's steaming BMW into the pit lane. I get the feeling that may well potentially be a retirement for him.
Yeah,
well.
I mean...
Delgado's got past King Scott here, hasn't he? He must have done that on the run into turn 1.
He did, yeah. Just a nice, took the toe down the front straight and made the move to the inside, and it was a very easy move. I mean, obviously Delgado's got pace in the car. He started pretty far in the back, and he's just kind of worked his way up and made pass after pass. Then, of course, with the contact with Hewins, that cleared out a couple of cars. But yeah, so he's shown that he's got the pace to lead. Probably there's going to be some people who question the way he got there, but it's racing at the end of the night, so I'll let the steward deal with that. So.
Oh yeah, it was one of those tricky ones, wasn't it, Charles? Because he was pushing Hewins along, like bump drafting him, so they could both squeeze up the inside into turn 3. But as many people call it turn 2, it's officially turn 3, just a little bit of a kink just before it. But that's where, I mean, unbeknown to himself, Hewins then just caught the grass, and that's what sent him out of control. And it was just a catalogue of unfortunate errors that all ended in the disaster that was turn 3.
Yeah, I think what you just said was, there's a kink between turn 1 and 3, and I think that's where the grass was, and I think that's where the bump drafting was happening. And so, it's not a straight line from turn 1 to turn 3, and I think that they just kind of maybe Hewins misjudged where he was on the track. Maybe he was more concerned about, the guy pounding in the back of the car, and the guy on the left side trying to make sure he's giving the guy room, and it just kind of all unraveled.
Today, so Hewins has come into the pits. Jackson has gone back out again. Let's see the replay of it all unfolding once again. Wow, what can we say? What can we say? You got to feel. I mean, Hewins is it's so unfortunate for him, really, isn't it? I mean, dominant all season long. Would like to have gone out with a bang at the end of the season. It just didn't turn out that way.
Yeah. I think obviously, even though he's got the championships on up, he still wants to come out and win the race, right? He still wants to, finish off the season strong. And it just, I mean, he did go out with a bang technically. It's not the bang.
But more in the literal sense. As, ooh, that's King Scott in a plume of smoke. I get the feeling he's been around because he's lost a lot of places. Come from battling with Delgado. He's lost 11 odd seconds there.
Let's see if that was maybe the outside or the inside. Let's see.
He's lost it by himself, hasn't he?
Oh, inside curb. Yeah, that inside curb is tricky there. And I don't know if he got a little contact as that car came through, the third place car.
Yeah, it would have been. That was Lucas Martins coming through there. Yeah. I wasn't 100% sure on that as well, Charles. It did look that way because there's a bit of a nudge, but I think it might have been the netcode nudge and the lucky netcode where everyone gets away with it, not it ends in absolute destruction of your vehicle for one person, the other person sails off up the road.
Yeah, I think he did. I think that he get lucky, but yeah, that inside curb in turn 5 is a little tricky. It has a tendency to maybe hook your tire, pull the front end around, and then you end up, not really being able to do anything with it except that little slow spin is what we saw. The net code where nothing happens is a rarity, but you're very happy when that happens.
Netcode giveth, netcode taketh. For myself, it's normally it takes rather than gives, but it definitely gave out in abundance there on everyone's side. But well, what does all this drama mean? Well, Glover in the Audi now leads Am and is third overall. He's on the podium overall. Palmerly, you can just see him in the Porsche right behind him there. And that blue and yellowed Porsche, number 232. He's hunting him down. We saw in qualifying, Palmerly has definitely got some speed in that Porsche. He's really taken it to that top group of qualifiers. You can see, well, that's the amount of times he's taken out of him every single lap. I mean, last 2 laps, 7 and 8 tenths, but before that, well over the second mark. He's just reeling him in for breakfast right now, and then the next lap he's going to be all over the top of Glover.
Yeah, really, that's just a matter of time, it looks like, at this point, before you can track him down. So I don't know, like I said, don't know if that Audi is the best car around here. It just seems like it's always been really good in the corners. It really changes direction well. It's just, it doesn't ever seem like it's got enough speed, especially on these high-speed tracks.
It really suffers. Someone like Hungaroring, it's not too bad with all those changes of direction. But here, really, it does suffer at these high-speed circuits. A bit of a shame, really. You think having a V10 would be absolutely amazing in the straight lines, but it's just not the case. This is the older version. It's not the newer Evo version of the Audi R8.
Yeah, I think that's kind of where it suffered, right? As we talked about, over the course of the last couple of weeks, as iRacing's evolution in the GT3 class, as these new cars come in, they just seem like that they have to do quite a bit of work to keep some of these older cars relevant. And even then, it's almost impossible. We talk about the McLaren and the Ford. The Ford, I think they started driving that car in the 1940s, which is obviously sarcasm, but it just seems like that car. I mean, it's been around forever, and it shows because it's just it's not fast. It doesn't handle well. But it's just one of those things that everybody just wants to drive it just because it's the Ford. But
really?
Knowing that,
I'd love to meet those people. I've never seen them, Charles. I've never seen them.
Honestly, I think when we were talking about driving Suzuka, we actually tested the Ford because it is one of the few tracks that it's actually pretty decent at.
Wow.
So, but it's just one of those. It's like, let's go drive the Ford today. And so you just hop in it and go. You don't really care about where you finish because you know that you're down on horsepower, you're down on handling, I think the only thing really good about that car, it brakes really well. I think they kind of left the GT2 brake package in there, so I think it really does good braking. But oh, there's a little pass.
Talking, yeah, there we go. I tell you what, Parmalee carried a load of speed through the kink, and he's just breezed past Parmalee, so past Glover, like he was stood still almost. It was.
Yeah, that Porsche's on rails right now. He's really got that car set up well.
He's absolutely flying his damn Parmalee. Well, so much so you see from the background of his picture he's got there, his driving profile picture. There's an aeroplane, and he is literally flying out on track as well as in the real world right now. And already opening up a half a second advantage out of the Audi of Glover. But he keeps this up with just coming up to 1/3 race distance completed. Delgado leads from Martins. Parmalee in 3rd overall, leading in now with Glover. He's just passed 2nd in and 4th overall. Then it's King Scott all the way back in 5th. It's closing in on these guys, but he is on the podium in Pro in 5th. Then it's Baker, Oliveira, Dragota, Brezhinac, Groves, Clist, Vinicius, Jackson, who is, well, he's well off the pace now, a minute down from the back end of Vinicius, and Vinicius is well off the pace too. And then on loan retirement of Hewins. And interestingly, he's been into the chats on YouTube saying, I thought I got the grasp, but Delgado just didn't brake. Wow, that's definitely a bit interesting. I'm sure this just might be taking a little bit of a perusal at that one after the race. It's going to be interesting. I said, what we were saying earlier about obviously the cars. I was reading an interesting article recently, Charles, about GT racing and talking about the demise, obviously, of GT, how expensive it is. But we're also talking about the Evo packs that come along to the cars, and very interesting to say, seeing that, as these packs come along, but they don't always work. Sometimes they make the car harder to drive. It's obviously in real life, or the car's not actually as fast as what it was before the Evo pack. So it can happen in the real world as well. There you go. There it is. Talking of an Evo, that's a Mercedes AMG GT. The Evo flying past Glover.
I would not want to be in a conversation with a team owner who just spent $100 grand per car to get the car upgraded to the Evo package, and it's actually slower.
From reading the article, Charles, it is a very bitter pill to swallow and a very painful one.
And you kind of wonder, is the Evo package, is it also part of the homologation that the cars have to go through? Does it have to meet certain criteria? And that's what makes it slower, not necessarily the package itself, but having to comply with all the regulations for the class to make sure that the car conforms to the spec. And so, but it's still, absolutely a bitter pill. I would not want to have that conversation with somebody who's just spent many hundreds of thousands of dollars for new equipment. And not get the performance that you would expect to see on an upgrade.
It's certainly money I couldn't afford. Just the upgrade pack, let alone the car itself. I know my luck. I'd save up all my pennies, eventually be able to buy it, and then the first corner of the first race, stick it in the wall, write the car off, and it'll be all gone. Well, at least that's what has happened to me on iRacing anyway. And Hewins been back in the chat again. Quite a shame. Bruce needed those points. He did indeed. Now, he's got a minute to try and make up to Vinicius. That is a lot. Nosi obviously were battling early on. He said, I do know what, fair play. I mean, he could understand as well with the championship wrapped up. He said he didn't care if it was just him. Sure, that's the true racing spirit that we all love and know. There is Bruce Jackson. Piddling around in the Aerokinetics purple BMW, a little one of his own right now. Well adrift from the field, and actually, he's not far. You just see him in the background there. Was Yao Delgado, our race leader right now. Last time around, he set the fastest lap of the race at 2:04.46, which was about half a second quicker than anyone on track. Well, the next closest person, as he goes well, near identical times once again, only 2 cents slower, and Martins responds with his personal best, but it's a tenth slower. The Delgado's now slower lap than his personal best.
Yeah, and unfortunately for Jackson, he does have that 1 second or 1 minute to make up, but he's basically running the same lap times as Vinicius. He's a tenth slower. It's been kind of back and forth.
They've been evenly matched all season long, really.
Yeah,
Those two, haven't they? They've
absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. And so it's obviously it's a bitter pill to say, okay, well, I finished a minute behind the guy. We know with no fault of my own, and of course I guess we could say the same for Vinicius, right? Really wasn't his fault.
no.
It was kind of the same thing. So those two guys are going to fall, end up both at the back of the pack. When I know they would rather be, up there battling with the pro leaders, where they were at the start of the race, battling for that championship.
Now, the only thing that play into Jackson's hands here is that they're both himself and Vinicius are both catching at around about 3 seconds a lap. The group in front of them being made up of, Dragota, Brezhnev, Groves, Klist. I know Klist is slightly bit more behind them, but it will take a lot of defending from them. But if they are really resistant to letting Vinicius pass, which they are in class, and they're more than entitled to do. They don't have to let him pass at all. That's what Jackson's just got to hope and pray for. Is Glover getting overtaken, and that is in class. That is Baker. Baker runs it in too deep. Glover retakes the pace, and Oliveira right now being held up. Oliveira, in the end, he did get underway for the race, but he ended up starting from the pits, I believe. So have him come up for the field and be in 7th, that is a astounding result from him in the Delta Racing BMW, and it's always a bit of a tricky one, this, isn't it? Because you're well down against your competitors, but where do you overtake? You don't want to get involved in a battle. He says that, as we just see Oliveira just trying to slot up the inside into turn one. I think this is going to be the wham bam, thank you man, move done, or is it? Because Thomas Baker holds it on right around the outside in spectacular fashion. You're not allowed to do that, Thomas Baker.
Yeah, that was. I mean, Oliveira had the speed, had the line, and then just didn't push it. He just said, okay, I didn't get a clean run through there, so I'm going to kind of reset and try again. So good on him for not forcing that, because he could have put his elbows out and put Baker over in the grass on the left hand side. But he's trying to drive the race clean. He's going to make a clean pass and try and get up a little bit further up in the field.
And all while that happened, he didn't really lose that much time to Glover ahead either. He's really stayed on his tail. I mean, yes, they've gone from battling side by side to, yes, dropped a little bit back, but even so, really lost a massive amount of time like you would have expected traditionally to see. So Baker definitely a man moving forward and really, driving the wheels off that Mercedes right now.
Yeah, I think if they would have stayed too wide all the way through turn 1, and then all the way down the straightaway to turn 3 before it got settled, I think they would have probably lost another half second to a second just from the side-by-side racing. But they just kind of, like I said, Oliveira just kind of tucked it back in, and they kept their. As we see Delgado coming into the pits, I guess this looks like this will be his one stop for the race.
So a little bit early, isn't it?
It's a little bit early, but I think most of these guys are pitting during the season in this B format or the A format. Anywhere between 25 and 35 minutes. It just depends on how they approach it. If they maybe went lighter fuel at the start of the race to maybe have a little more pace, and then heavier fuel in the second half. So yeah, it just depends on how they do it. Some people just run it dry, fill it up, run it dry. Then go in and fill it up again, but some people have a little more feel for how they want the car to operate.
It's one of those, as Brezhnev's in as well, it's one of those tricky conundrums, isn't it? Because If you go light, yes, you've got that initial great pace and you can get a few track positions, but it's then offset by the issue of you have to spend longer in the pits because you have to put more fuel in to get you home to the end of the race. It's a tricky conundrum. Like you say, do you then have more fuel on board, run as long as you can, but that does mean that you really lack race pace in the opening stages. On the flip side, it does mean you have an incredibly short pit stop in comparison to running light at the start. It's a real trade-off, isn't it? And trying to understand what's the best tactic, and requires a bit of practice and a few long runs to really understand that, I would imagine, Charles.
Yeah, it really is. I think you know, I drive these, but I'm really more of a crew chief for my team. And so what you learn is you know, if you go into this, if you go in with an early pit stop, you better be faster than the rest of the cars out there. That's really the only way it works. If you go in with I'm running 5th, I'm really not making up any time on P4. If I'm just kind of just barely hanging on to them, you pitting early is not really going to do anything for you. I mean, it's going to give you clean air, but it doesn't matter because you've also, you know, you got clean air, but you've also lost a draft. You kind of lost a sparring partner, which sometimes will help you focus a little more. And so, yeah, so it's you have to know that you've got pace in the car that you can make up ground. And if you take that extra heavy fuel load, you're also on older tires. They've already been through about half a race. So then you've got a heavy car and not so fresh tires that you have to deal with.
That is Baker into the pits. The long crawl through on the pit limiter. Pulls up to his box, gets it stopped. And, well, he's definitely not going for tyres. I have heard a bit of a rumour along the... Ooh, oh no, that's Bruce Jackson. That's the last thing he needed. Was an over rotation, the rear end of the car. Tried to catch up with the front end. Same issue that King Scott had there.
Yep, just on the inside of that curb, and looks like he actually got into the dirt too. So he took that one way tighter than he probably needed to, and yeah, just, you know, lost the rear end of the car. As it just, like you said, just over rotated on the exit of the corner.
Frustrating meeting for Jackson. Well, but he's still going on the position overall, but obviously different classes. Oliveira being in Pro, Glover ahead of him, being in in the Audi. To head through the kink. So it just makes me that some of these camera angles, the speed in which the cars absolutely fly through, and are we going to see it? The spectator's point of view there, up the inside, around he goes. That is Oliveira finally through as Lucas Martins is into the pits from the lead of the race. King Scott joins him in there too. Likewise does Palmer Lee. Who else are we going to see head into the pits? Oliveira, he has stopped already. Glover yet to stop. Oh, sorry, no, Oliveira, apologies. He started from the pits, didn't he, of course?
He did.
That's why he's got a pit marker against his name. Apologies about that one. You're getting a little bit confused. As you go into what is Groves going to do? He's coming up towards the end of the lap. He is yet to stop. He's into the pits. Delgado stopped on lap 13, so he will stay out. Where is he going to come out in amongst absolutely everyone else? That's a bit of an interesting one to try and fire them out. I mean, has he managed to gain time with that strategy? I'm not... Oh, this is going to be close. He gets across onto the racing line. Does Martins, but he's going to get up to speed and be just ahead of Delgado to take the lead by 7 tenths. He's made up a whole fistful of time there.
Yeah, he really has. To check timing and scoring on that to see how he... well, I'm looking at... He was 4 seconds faster, or just 3.5 seconds faster than Delgado on the pit cycle. So obviously less fuel, so it was actually 3.5 less stoppage time. So that's where he made his time up.
He made up. I was about to say he made heaps of time, but well, to be precise, he made up 3 seconds. Actually, it's close. over 3.5 seconds. That's a mammoth amount of time to make up, especially with only 2 laps difference in strategy. But it is played into Martin's hands like an absolute dream. Clist, Glover, Oliveira all yet to stop. Also, Vinicius will need to stop. He stops back on lap 2. Jackson, I fear he'll probably have to stop again, but just after he gets from bad to worse for him. Really suffered. Battling out front.
Yeah,
It just all fell apart.
Yeah, I think we'll probably see Oliveira in this lap. I'm just kind of guessing based on the fact that he didn't have to do the pace lap. Yep, there he is, showing up on pit lane. So yeah, he just had a little more fuel on board because he didn't have to do the pace lap starting from the pits. So,
well, considering that Glover did, that's great mileage by the Audi, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
You'd think being a naturally aspirated 5-litre V10, he would absolutely drink the fuel in comparison to the straight 6 of the BMW, but it's actually worked out the opposite way around. It's worked out an absolute treat, and maybe that was part of Glover's strategy. Where was Palmer lead? There he is. He's coming to the final turn. I think he's going to take hold of the race leading AM once again, but Glover is going to have closed up that gap. Glover's still stationary. Palmer's going to fly past to take a lead in AM. Oliveira on pit exit. Glover still stationary. I do wonder whether he's taking a bit more fuel than what he should have done there. As yeah, he's still stationary. Oh, he's just got moving. So there he's come out of the pits. Into the pit lane comes Vinicius and Clist. They are in. And once they're out, we'll be able to sort things out as the 35-minute mark clicks over. So where everyone has come out after the round of pit stops. And you talk about obviously the older GT3s within the service, obviously the McLaren being one of them. Interesting one to see that that's being obviously dropped from IMSA going forward in iRacing. Obviously due to the BMW LMDH coming on board to the service. You do have to wonder what that leaves for, that car within iRacing sort of going forward. Obviously still race it within the the VRS Sprint, the VRS Endurance and the GT3 Fix series, so still plenty of chance to drive that car, but I think we're starting to see the beginning of the end for it.
I mean, I think you're right, and you know what, it's the only GT3 I don't own. I own every other one, but I've just never really had the desire to drive the McLaren. So
I think the best thing to do, Charles, is buy it now, because normally I'd imagine it's got to be within this year. And normally with iRacing, if you've brought it within the last year, they give you the money back and get back yourself a free car
almost like a rental, right?
Oh,
yeah,
definitely.
Rent it for a year. Yeah, I think obviously we've talked about I'll obviously drive iRacing. I don't really drive. I will tinker with other platforms, but iRacing is the one I race on. And they're going to very quickly in the next couple of years run into a problem with their 8-car limit. Because obviously the BMW LMDH is going to be here. The Porsche is going to be here. We're just on the IMSA side. So you got the BMW.
They're on about Cadillac. There's the
Cadillac.
There's the long-standing rumours about the LMP3, which is meant to have been coming along for. Well, I think the dinosaurs. They died out before that rumour started up.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like you said, that 8-car limit. I mean, it wasn't that long ago that iRacing was on 6 cars. So it has, there has been progress. We're now to 8.
Right. But I mean, I just added, obviously if we just talk about IMSA, you've got 4 this year, 4 LMDH cars this year. Obviously we're getting the BMW. On the WEC side, there's another 2 or 3 that are coming in this year that are not in IMSA, and that's not counting the ones that are going to be here in 24 and 25. And that's not counting, obviously, as you said, the LMP3. And it's also not counting the 2 or 3 new GT3 cars we're going to get. So the Ferrari 296, which will replace the Ferrari 488. We're going to get the Corvette GT3. We're going to get the Ford Mustang GT3 in real life. Obviously, iRacing will want to have all those on their platform, and so at some point something's got to give, right? You know. Oh, and I didn't think about the Lamborghini LMH that's going to be here, and and all these other ones. So it's obviously 8 is wonderful. It's cool to have 8 different cars on track, but that's going to become a big problem in the near future.
It definitely is. Talking about problems, Clist has Vinicius all over his tail end right now. He's managed to extend the gap through the carousel there. And as we're reaching the 40-minute mark, let's have a bit of a rundown through the order. Martins leads from Delgado. So after the round of pit stops, he came out 7/10 ahead of Delgado. He's already pulled out nearly an additional second over his fellow countryman. Oliveira, I just spotted he's made his way past Baker there, but King Scott, he's up to 3rd, so he's going to go for a round of pit stops there. Making progress is the Aussie and the Mercedes. 3rd overall. Now Palmer Lee, 4th overall. A leading AM. Oliveira, 5th. Baker, 2nd in AM. Glover, 3rd in AM. 6th and 7th overall. Respectively for those two. Gross and Gross. Brezhnev. This battle we're seeing right now between Kliss and Vinicius. It's, well, 11th and 12th. But I feel that they're about to swap around as Vinicius is steaming up the inside. And I think that's going to be the move done. Yes, it is. Before they've even reached the apex. Bam, bang. Thank you, man. Vinicius through. And up the road he goes. Wow, not a bad little move from the Brazilian there. Let's have a bit of a mention for another one of our sponsors here for this series. Virtual Racing School. If you're looking to improve your on-track performance with 50+ data packs for both road and oval racing, then they're the people to go to. They have track guides, data analysis software, as well as providing one-on-one coaching. And just seeing an interesting comment there in the YouTube chat. I'm going to butcher your name here. Here we go. It's very late in the UK. It's just coming to 3 AM. So apologies for this one. 10 Menin Crowder. I could definitely say surname a lot easier. A Glickenhaus or at least one of the Le Mans hypercars would be great with the LMDH on iRacing. It would be indeed. I'd love to see the Peugeot. I think we all would because it's just so crazy. And they're really ripping it up in WEC. They had a cracking round last time out. Really taking it to Toyota. It's a great time to be alive for sports car fans. From everything from GTs all the way up to the top step in the new hypercars right now. Both the IMSA and the Le Mans variants. Pleffer to choose. I had someone spin that. Are we going to see it drive past the car? Yeah, that was someone on the inside. Who was that? That was Brezhnev.
Wow. I'm going to guess that was too wide through Canada on the exit. Probably got in the gravel and came back across the track. That's normally what happens there. Oh no, he just lost the rear end. He just lost the rear end on the corner.
What was that caused by, Charles? It sounded like he was downshifting too quickly, maybe. It sounded like the rear axle just lost.
So if you go back and look at that, he was in first gear, and that's Mercedes' Achilles heel. It's a great car, but if you downshift into first, the diff locks is horrible. It just locks that rear diff and will just turn you, and there's nothing you can do about it. And it's only first gear. Everything else seems to be okay, but it's going from second to first. If you're carrying too many RPMs, the diff locks, and you just lost the rear end.
There we go. Charles Bachel's top tip of the evening for driving the Mercedes AMG GT.
Yeah, stay in second.
Yeah, just don't bother. It's a bit like the Formula V's. Just use third and fourth. Just don't bother with first and second because that just kills you in those as well. Very different car to these, single-seater, and a lot less horsepower, a lot less weight, and a lot less size as well to boot. It's coming in towards the last quarter of the race right now, and that means Brezhnev has fallen behind Vinicius and Klist after that incident. And just giving you an update on Jackson, he's still well down against the back of the pack. Obviously, that spin early on, that well, mid-race not helping him whatsoever, but out in front, this is how things are playing out, and how Martins has managed to get away from Delgado. You see there that, well, since he came out, Martins, he's really put hammer to the metal and really pulled away 2 temps on lap 18, 6 temps on lap 19, last lap, last 20, nearly, well, over a quarter of a second there. And that is why the gap out in front is now 2.2 seconds between Martins and Delgado. But I was a bit worried when Martins came out the pit lane, Charles, because he was very slow getting up to speed. As you know, you see the closing difference in speed as always here at Road America. But he moved straight across out to the racing line. I was like, oh, this could end in tears a little bit here. But it didn't, amazingly.
Yeah. He came straight across. He had enough room and enough time to get his car back up to speed. So, it's and he's just pulled away. I mean, that obviously that car's he's got a really good set in it, and he's got really good pace. And for all Delgado's done during the course of this race to get to where he can challenge, just doesn't look like he's got enough pace to keep up with it.
Just thought of another one, another GT3, a Lexus LFA.
Yeah.
LFA. No, RCZ, isn't it? Apologies. The LFA, very different car. But, runs very well in IMSA, regular in that series. Another one. And, of course, the Honda this side of the pond, Acura your side, the NSX.
The NSX. Aston GT3.
Is he really in it? Oh, yes. I mean, of course, with the GT4 coming along to iRacing, you got to feel this any time before that comes along.
Yeah, love that GT4 car, by the way. It's fun to drive. And I will say this on the comment, the YouTube comment. I think that hell will freeze over before Glickenhaus is in iRacing. I'm just going to say it based on the comments I've seen from Jim on Twitter. I don't think he really likes sim racing very much. I don't think he thinks very highly of it. So I don't foresee them. Ever scanning a Glickenhaus car for a sim.
I mean, it's a bit of a daft one, really, because it's a great way to, bridge the gap between, obviously, real world racing and virtual world, and potentially bring on, some additional fan base for them, and help to advertise and market the car and such. Like, I know their customer base here is not certainly like something like a, I don't know, a Chevrolet Spark or a Ford Fiesta, certainly, sure. It's not the cheaper end of the market, so that's for certain. But it's a way of it giving you great brand exposure.
I mean, it is, but here's the difference between, and we'll use Aston as an example. Aston has the Vantage that you can go to your local Aston dealer and you can go buy your own V12 Vantage, right? Or,
very true.
Or whatever you want, right? But they make a racing version of it. Jim Glickenhaus builds race cars, and then he converts them to cars that you can buy for the road. So he does it completely backwards. It's the racing comes first. And then if he can make some money building road versions of those cars, that's what he does. So it's all about building the best quality race car he can build, and then converting that for road. So he does it with all of them. He's got this his hypercar, and he's got his GT3. At one point in time, he was working on GT4 to get homologated, which was gorgeous. If you were a fan of the old AC Cobras, you would be a fan of that car. It was fantastic to look at. And then his, what he calls the boot, which is his off-roader, which he ran at the Baja 1000 this year. So.
Things though, would it sound as good as an AC Cobra?
I mean, probably not, but it was a very pretty car. And I forget what the designation was. It was like the SCG 008. I'm not sure. Anyway, I think if you go look for, Glickenhaus GT4, you can find some photos of it. It's a very pretty car, though.
But talking of, well, maybe not pretty cars, there's the BMW M4 with that new grille that BMW with, their new design Q that across all their cars. But many of, I think we're all starting to get used to it a little bit now. It's the whole Bugsy type, Yeah, you know, it
Yeah.
was lots of memes and not a lot of people liked it, but I think we've all just got used to it as time's gone on. Across in, you know, it's been brought out across the whole range of their next generation of road cars, which we all have on the roads right now.
Except for the M2.
Very true. Good point. Good point there, Charles.
The M2, and I don't know why. You know, I've well, and if you want to do it, the new BMW LMDH does not have the grill design. It has the horizontal.
Yes, it does, doesn't it? I was going to say it does, but it's yes.
I mean, they're massive. They are still massive. But they are horizontal instead of vertical.
That's a pretty good point. Because I was thinking, what they say too, Charles? What are you talking about? But yes, indeed, they are sideways. Yeah, clearly that's better for aerodynamics. And well, I thought Brezhnev was going to lose the rear there, but he just casually drifted around turn 5. Nothing to worry about there whatsoever. As we're inside the... well, no, not quite inside. Getting a bit ahead of myself there. Nearly inside the last 10 minutes. So we've got an additional, 45 seconds to be inside the last 10 minutes. Martin's leads overall for Aerokinetics Pink in the Mercedes. Delgado in the BMW M4 GT3 for iRacing. He's second. It's another Mercedes running out the podium. Overall in the Pro, it's King Scott, the Aussie of Tin Top Oz Racing. And then, well, fourth overall, it's not a Pro, but an AM in the form of Dan Palmer Lee in the Porsche. Well, one of 2 Porsches running here today. Well, technically only one. He's only run a lap after he lost Spencer Hewins. Some 18 laps ago, all the way back on lap 5. Oliveira, he is 5th for Delta Racing. Baker, he's having a good run out today in that Mercedes. He's 6th overall. Glover, well, he's held in there, but just being let down by the limitations of the Audi's lack of top speed. But he's still 3rd. Ian Am, and 7th overall. Dragota, he's 8th. Groves, 9th. Vinicius and Kliss rounds out a string of 4 BMWs to take you all the way up to 11th place. And it is the Mercedes of Brezhnev Jackson, who is into the pits now. He's been there for a while. I get the feeling that car may well be parked. Of course, he was vying for the race lead with Vinicius, but, well, separate incidents saw them fall to the back of the field. And you've got to really feel for Jackson. It was the same Jackson that ended up claiming, well, the car of Hewins as well. Jackson decided to go back out again. Got big into the fight, but well, it looks like he has definitely retired that car now. And let's have a bit of a mention to our final sponsor of this evening. It's Apex Racing Academy. They have 29 data packs. They have setups, track guides within them, as well as integration with another one of the sponsors, Virtual Racing School. They also provide weekly group coaching sessions and much, much more. Make sure you check them out. And if you're into rallycross, our producer John, he could be the person teaching you. He's also a world champion. He'll really say thank you in a second. That's when he's probably busy and not finished working his magic in the background. So we're down to 8 minutes and 30 seconds left of this out-long race of the season finale of the ARL GT Americas here on Apex Racing TV. And it's all gone a bit calm, hasn't it, Charles? It's that mellow end to the season. Sometimes this is a flurry of activity and argy-bargy. But this is more peaceful, serene. Serene. That's the right word I'm looking for there. Ending.
Yeah, I think we had too much argy-bargy in the beginning of this, unfortunately.
Yeah, they wore themselves out a bit early on. They peaked too soon, didn't they?
They did. Yeah, I feel bad, obviously, for Vinicius, Jackson, you know, Hewins. It's, you know, you don't. This is not how you want to end the season. Obviously, you don't want to end the season on the back foot. You know, and it's in Jackson's case. I mean, really, he's running a really strong race. Through no fault of his own, he's out. You know, he's going to finish 13th out of 14 because he just got hit, and there's not really anything you can do about that point except take your lumps and go to the next one. Unfortunately, there's not a next one for this season, at least for this series. But of course, there'll be other races for these guys, and you know. But once again, this is you want to finish. Like I was telling us before we started, I'd love for all these guys to just finish strong, and let's have a good race to end the season, and not have any drama. I promised I wasn't going to call anybody out for the commentator's curse tonight, to make sure that didn't happen. So it was, but it's like I said, it's I know these guys, the guys that are up front, are proud to be there. The guys that are out here running the rest of this race are going to be pleased with that they finished the season on a good note, that they were able to complete everything, and then we'll everybody will reset and we'll try it again.
Well, if they fancy it, they've got a chance to reset. Of course, we've got exciting in only 2 weeks' time. The Apex Racing League GT Trophy. On the broadcast, that'll be live from the studios at Apex Racing Towers. Myself and Sam Fitzpatrick will be covering that all season long. It's a big season, 12 rounds in total of absolutely epic wheel-to-wheel racing in GT3s. And undoubtedly, there'll be we'll see some of these faces return into that one, as I think Baker's just got past Oliveira, and I think Oliveira might have had a bit of off.
I think so. I think you may be right there.
What are we going to see, Charles? We're going to see grass? Oh, no, just missed braking point.
I think he may have been in the grass and tried to get back over, and by the time he got back over onto the track, it was too late to hit his braking point. So I think he was trying to not brake on the grass to start with. At least that's what it looked like. Maybe we're going to get another shot of this and see. No, he was. He just missed it. That's really interesting.
It's one of these things that can happen, isn't it? When you're running around, whoa, who's that? Yeah. That's Vinicius running in a bit deep there. And, well, hold on, all of a sudden, it's all come alive. A flurry of activity right inside the last 5 minutes. We've had enough, and now, all of a sudden, to go to Vinicius and Groves, we're all over each other. There's about a second and a half separating them.
Yeah, I think maybe they're listening to the broadcast and we need to give these guys something to talk about. So let's do something a little different here. So yeah, it's it's good to see them still battling for positions on the track with a little under 5 minutes left to go in this race. And I hate that I'm not going to get a chance to commute over to England for the broadcast for the GT3 trophy. It's really
off in the background. Groves got a bit. I think he might have caught the grass on the outside.
Wide. Yeah, I think you're right. I think that's exactly what happened. Anyway, quickly finish my thought. I hate that I'm not going to be it, but I will be watching in as you guys do it. It is a really good league. Lots and lots of cars on the track. 3 classes, obviously, like the format here. But it's a little too far for me to commute to make it over there.
Just a little. Oh, there you go. Yeah, just caught. He was holding on for dear life to stay in touch. With the battle that's going on in front of him between Vinicius and Jagosa. But just in doing so, dear, that's into the pits, isn't it? And I think we're going to see a retirement. I mean, it's so close to the end.
I mean, it depends if he still got his fast repair. If he hasn't had any other contact, he may just pop the fast repair and just jump back out and finish the race. But we'll see.
I think is Baker just come off the track? Maybe, because I think he just lost a place there to Oliveira. Well, that's only overall, so it doesn't really affect things too much in terms of hands, but not sure about that one. But well, there is Vinicius, and wow, what a race the Brazilian has had. Up in front, down to the back of the field, and he's recovered all the way back up to 8th. And it's a great drive from him. Only really eclipsed by his teammate Hugo Oliveira. He's up an incredible 8 places. He started in the pit lane and has picked his way through the field, quietly about his business, and now finds himself in 5th. He's running, well, in a penultimate position in Pro, as all Clister's just got progression, and that's why.
Yep, and that's another one of those that's in a weird location. Let's see. Is this going to be under the bridge here too late? It just, you know, as like I said, you crest that hill and the car just gets light, and sometimes it just doesn't want to cooperate around that corner, and I think that's what happened there.
But you called that one out very early on, didn't you? I think it was on the parade lap, or
Yeah,
maybe within qualifying.
Yeah, I think so, and it's just because I've done it so many times. To be fair, but it's just like I said, it's just one of those. It's one of those special features at Road America that, you know, you come over the crest of that hill, the car gets very, very light. You try and get on the brakes, and make that turn in, and the car just doesn't want to do it, and it's because it doesn't have its full grip. It doesn't have, you know, the car's not planted, and so you end up either driving the car really wide through the exit of the corner, or in that case, you try and over crank the steering, and you lose the rear end. So, which is what happened in that case.
And as our leader, Lucas Martins, comes around, he's going to take the white flag. 1 lap left to go here at Road America, round 6, the GT Americas Championship. And of the season, the final tour is happening. And just needs to bring it home. And, well, it's been a performance from him. All came down to pit strategy. Stationary for over 2.5 seconds. Less than Delgado, who was well ahead of him at the time. After the pit stops sorted themselves out, Martins, who pitted after Delgado, he emerged 7/10 in front of Delgado. From that moment onwards, he hasn't looked back. He's been extending the gap, lap after lap after lap. Last time around, well, he was slower than Delgado, and that's the first time in an incredibly long while that he's done that by about half a second. But he's got such a margin, he doesn't need to worry about this whatsoever. He just needs to bring it home as he approaches half a lap around, just 2 miles left of Road America and left of his season. Wow. What's been your favourite round, Charles?
Oh, wow.
I mean, we had drama at Suzuka. Watkins Glen, well, who doesn't love Watkins Glen?
I mean, yeah,
you know, standard Spa. Well, that was a bit of an entertaining race,
that
to say
was.
the least. And
Yeah.
Daytona was, well, I think Daytona promised a lot. I think it was the worst of a very good bunch, I think, which is doesn't mean to say it's bad by any stretch of the imagination.
Yeah. But you know what? The one race you didn't do that I did with Austin,
Road Atlanta.
Road Atlanta, was the finish was absolutely amazing. You had, you know, the battle was a half second between Delgado and Hewins at the end of the race, and it was, like I said, it was an amazing ending to it. It was a really good race overall, and so there was battles not just for the pros but for the AMs also.
As it comes across the line, Martins. It's because you said Delgado, then Martins is going to take the checker flag for the final time this season with a weave across the line. There's Delgado. He finishes in second, but will he? Because I'm sure the stewards are going to be taking a look at that incident that happened in the early stages of the race. Interesting one, but Lucas Martins, he's having a bit of a drift and trying to get the rear end loose. There's a flash of the lights from Jamie King Scott. Great result for him. Onto the podium, and I'm trying to check for through. I think that's the first time he's been on the podium this season.
It may be. I think he's been running, you know, in the top 8 or so.
He's just always had bad luck that's knocked him out.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think he made enough deposits into the luck bank this year that he's able to take a nice withdrawal and get a podium out of this last race.
That was your winner in Dan Palmerly, and a great result for him. 4th overall. Oliveira, as we said earlier, we got 8 places recovered after starting from the pits. Great drive from the Brazilian of Delta Racing. Baker and then Glover come across the line to finish off your podium. In the AM category, a great drive from Glover, and what's definitely not been the strongest car here today, that Audi R8 GT3. And you can tell it's the final race of the season because there's always weaves across the track. There's always a flash of the lights as they cross the line. That is Marcus Vinicius. Brazilian Delta Racing. Well, another one
That
who's
was a
been in
really
the
good
wars.
recovery for him.
Oh,
Yeah, for sure.
this is closer. This is a fight to the line right for the end of the season. Then Kliss is going to get Dragotta. Dragotta tries to squeeze him, but he's not going to get it because as much as he's going to fight back, he's going to be in the slipstream. Kliss has got him.
Look at that. What a great finish. I mean, hey, that's what you call battling to the line. It doesn't matter if you're battling for first or for 10th. You're still battling. So it was a great result. Nicely done.
That's one way to round out your season, isn't it? Let's take a little look. So this is on board with Kliss, and he's just reeled him in. Has he run wide? Oh no, he's just a little bit. But I tell you what, Kliss,
great corner, great run out of the corner.
Oh, for someone who has been mentally shattered after doing 2 Suzuka 12 hours this weekend.
Sure. I'm shattered. I only did 1, so I completely understand.
To pull that one out of the bag right at the end of an hour-long race, after a race where we've had the pack spaced out quite a bit, so you've had almost switched off a bit. No, now the adrenaline pumping. What a run to the line from the Brit in the American champion.
Yeah,
the imposter almost, but a great finish for him. Let's take a little look at the race results for you. So Martins takes the final victory of the season with this fellow countryman, Algardo, 4 seconds behind him in second. James Kinscott, great result for him. Third overall. Then it's your winner in Dan Palmer Lee in fourth. Igor Vera came home in fifth with Thomas Baker and Glover rounding out your podium, 6th and 7th respectively overall for those guys. Marcus Vinicius 8th, and then Kliss right at the death, pipping Dragotta to 9th place. The last drivers to finish on the lead lap. Brezhnev finished the lap down, likewise did Corey Groves. Then into the retirements. Jackson, we lost him on lap 21, and Hewins we lost all the way back on lap 5. Well, there's plenty of people sat waiting to have a chat, Charles. Let's pick. Ooh, who do we pick? Let's go with, I'm going to guess that this person is, because they haven't changed their name fully within our Discord. I'm going to guess this person is Jamie Kingscott. It is. He's changed their name magically. Boom. Instantly. There we go. Jamie, welcome along. What a great way to round out your season with a podium.
Oh, well, thank you. It was a good race.
It wasn't. I mean, some might say you got a bit lucky from the incidents that happened in front of you, but you've got to be there to pick up the pieces when they do happen in front of you. And you were there, and I think you probably thought, Christmas had come about a month and a half early for you.
Yeah, I feel a bit sorry for poor old Spencer there. He just got a bit unlucky on the grass and, opened the way for me.
It's sailed on through. And we were saying during the race that, I mean, it's been a turbulent season for you. I mean, at times, if you didn't have any bad luck, then you wouldn't have any luck at all, it's felt like. But, I mean, it just goes to show that, once don't have the you have lady luck on your side, just what you can achieve, and it's been a real great race for you today. Just sort of looking back at the season, what's been your sort of standout moments?
Yeah, obviously today with the P3, getting lucky there. I could have got another one last weekend, but bit late in the race. I got a bump in the rear end and unfortunately bent me rear axle. And I could have had 2 podiums to finish the season. I would have been happy.
Oh, definitely, that would have been a cracking way. Before we let you go, Jamie, anyone you want to give a shout out to at all?
The engineer Adam, he's really good with the setups each week. He's just phenomenal. Fantastic, just stable each week.
There you go. That is Jamie Kingscott, finish 3rd overall and in pro. Into Oz Racing. Charles, take your pick. We've got a few of them sat down there waiting patiently. Who do you fancy having a chat with?
I think I want to get this man, Bruce Jackson. I think I want to get his input before we go around to maybe somebody else. So, Bruce, I mean, it kind of looked like you may have had the championship sewn up there at the beginning with Vinicius getting in trouble, and then it all just kind of unraveled for you.
Yeah.
So kind of go through your what your mind was thinking, during that whole set of events.
Well, I can't go through what I was thinking during that event. It wouldn't be appropriate for the broadcast. Well, but
Understandable.
just needless to say, I wasn't happy about it for a few reasons. But there's nothing. I mean, it's spilt milk at this point. There's nothing I could do. All I had to do at that point was just finish the race. Just finish the race. Any place, 2 places or more from Marcos, and I would have had more than the 8 points I needed for the championship. So, at this point, I don't know what to say. If it had been caused by someone else, then I wouldn't have the thoughts that I have. So, but I'm not going to go into that. It is what it is. If he gets the championship, congrats to him. He drove like he was supposed to. It is, things happen.
Yeah, understood. Is there? So I'm gonna let you get a chance to get your adverts in tonight. And let you thank the folks.
Yes. Once again, as always, I thank my Lord and Savior for allowing me to have the opportunity to race. My teammates, and if you can, please put a prayer out there for Daniel. His family's going through some health issues right now, and then my teammates, they all help me. We've been running a lot of laps, both at Suzuka and then here at Road America. So I can't say enough about them. And yes, the last plug this season for the merch store. And if you look closely at Hewan's car, he had it on there, the web address and everything. So please check out the Aerokinetics merch store. Get your T-shirts, hats, everything. We got a bunch of coffee mugs. I drink coffee out of my mug almost every day. So that's my pitch. Thanks, guys.
Thank you, Bruce. Hey, good season. Not the way obviously you wanted to see it end, but it was a good season overall. You had some really great runs during the year.
Yes, sir. And I plan to be back. I definitely plan to be back. I like this. This was really good. It wasn't like overly large, and so it was really good in the sense that as folks drove together, they gave each other a lot more respect on the track. No one wanted to really hurt each other on the track and ruin races. So it was just such a good experience. It really was. You guys really put on a good show. And thank you guys also for all the broadcasting time. I mean, you guys do a great job with this. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, Bruce.
You're welcome.
Well, let's have a bit of a chat to another one of our drivers. I think next up we'll have a chat with our race Victor here today. Now joined in the commentary by Lucas Martins. Lucas, congratulations. What a way to finish the season with a victory.
Thank you very much, guys. Thank you for the broadcast, first of all. Always super nice from you guys.
Well, when you guys put on great racing, it always makes our lives a lot easier. And, well, it's definitely been an interesting season for yourself with some highs and lows. What's been your favourite moment?
Oh, definitely today. Today was, it turned out that I was able to pull this victory. Yeah, and then for sure that's the best moment. And yes, I agree with you. There was some low moments, especially at the beginning of the season where I had to P6. Yeah, but then Suzuka also had a really tough race where they had to recover a lot of times. But yeah, that was great. Today was great.
Of the two sort of formats, the shorter, the two 30-minute sprints or the longer hour-long race, which one have you sort of preferred or had the most fun in?
Well, between the 3 format ABC, right? I prefer A and B. I mean, I don't have any, both are super fine for me, the format. I do also like the format C, but I mean, if I would have to pick, I would pick A and B. Or if I would have to choose an order, maybe B and A, and then C. But all nice, they're all nice. It's super interesting. That makes more, attractive.
Definitely. You got your requests in ready for next season, I'm sure. Before we let you go, Lucas, anyone you want to give a shout out to at all?
For sure, yeah. The ARL Kinetics team, in special tonight for Zane and Daniel, that are struggling with their families. So a big shout out for them. And and then my family as well. And the ARL Kinetics Merc is also available in our links that the people already distributed in this channel. So thank you so much, guys, as well.
Definitely, there's your victor here today, Lucas Martins. Charles, we've got 2 drivers sat. Should we? I know it's the last race of the season. We are running into overtime a little bit here. Should we try and squeeze them in really, really quickly?
Yeah,
I'm guessing you probably like to speak to Dan Palmley as he picked up a victory today.
Yeah, Dan, it was a good, strong ending to your season here with getting the win in AM class today.
Yeah, I wish I could have been around for a few more races. Maybe I could have been in contention for the championship, but these last 2 weeks have been great. Really enjoyed the race today. I love the endurance style racing. You know, those shorter heat style races like last week. You know, they're fun, but I love being able to just kind of settle in and chip away at someone who I'm trying to catch, or just trying to keep my gap big to whoever's behind me.
Well, absolutely. So yeah, we've enjoyed watching everybody racing, and so we're going to try and make this short. So I'll just give you a chance to thank anybody that you want to.
Yeah, definitely give a shout out to the family for supporting and watching. Shout out to the wife letting me come out and race with you guys and race on these Saturday nights, and looking forward to another U.S. Time Zone Apex Racing League Championship in the future.
Awesome. Thanks, Dan. Congratulations on your season.
Thank you.
Squeezing our last interview of the evening, joined by Yael Delgado. Now, second today for Delta Racing. I mean, it's been a tough season for you guys against the Aerokinetics car. And, well, I mean, second today, there's not a bad way to end the season at all, is it?
I can make one wish.
Yes.
Can catch the Lucas to here to help me? My English is very bad, man. I'm sorry.
No, that's fine.
Ô Lucas, você pode me ajudar?
He really likes it. It was Dallas Airshow. If you look at it, it was like
Lucas,
really nice. Yeah.
Você pode me ajudar?
Yes.
Eles me puxaram aqui para dar entrevista,
Oh,
mas eu não entendi a pergunta.
Hello, guys. I'm back. Yeah, so I can help Delgado. What was the question? Sorry.
We were just saying that obviously it's been a season-long battle between Delta and Aerokinetics. Sort of how does he feel that his season's gone, and it's a great way to end the season, finishing second today?
Delgado está perguntando assim que foi uma temporada bem disputada da Delta. Como você está se sentindo no segundo lugar de hoje?
Segundo lugar, para mim a pista de Road América é muito boa. Se quiser...
He's saying the track is really nice.
No começo da temporada também consegui andar bem em Road Atlanta, mas tive uma queda de rendimento em Spa, em Daytona, que é uma pista muito boa também para mim, mas tive alguns incidentes.
He said he really had a really good start of the season in Road Atlanta, and then he struggled a little bit on the next following 2 races. Daytona was a racetrack that he used to like a lot, and then he also had some issues there, but overall a good feeling.
E a disputa com a Aero foi muito legal, porque o Spencer estava andando demais, e até peço desculpa pelo que aconteceu. Eu não tive a intenção.
Yeah, he's saying that the fight with Aerokinetics, the battles were really nice, entertaining, and he congratulates Spencer because he was super fast. And tonight he's apologized. Yeah, he's apologizing for tonight. He had no intention to collide.
That's good to know. Lucas, you mind asking Yael Delgado if there's anyone who wants to give a shout to or give thanks to at all?
Você quer deixar agradecimento a alguém, Delgado?
Eu queria agradecer a todos que fazem parte da Delta, a esse campeonato. Foi muito legal ter disputado, espero voltar no futuro.
He would like to thank everybody from Delta Racing, and he really enjoyed this championship. He's looking forward for the next season.
Thank you, Lucas, for translate. Thank you, guys.
That's good. You're welcome.
Sorry. I promise to learn more English for the next season.
I promise to learn more Portuguese.
More Portuguese is good.
Yeah, definitely. Obrigado, I think is how you say that. It's Yao Delgado, who finished second here today for Delta Racing.
Obrigado.
We'll move everyone along. And Charles, well, what a season it's been. We're running well over time here. We try to get everyone across us at the end of the season. They're patiently waiting. We've had 6 rounds. I'll let you have 6 words to surmise the season. I always put you on the spot like this, don't I? And 6 is a bit of an odd number.
You do.
I'm biding your time. I'm padding and filling here. See if you get creative. Go for it.
I'll see you next season.
I'll see you next season. That's 5. Well,
I will.
There you go. There you go. That's 6. There we go. Well, it's been an absolute pleasure here at Apex Racing TV cover the ARL GT Americas. What a season it's been, and congratulations to our champions. Thanks very much for joining us. I've been Tim Cox with Charles Michelle, John Robertson, who's been covering production, and we'll see you soon here on Apex Racing TV.